morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Last time we studied the tongue. So, what are the presenting parts of the tongue?
Apex, root to lateral margin, and
Body.
body, dorsal and
Dorsal
ventral.
and ventral surface.
Yes.
Ventral and dorsal.
Ventral and the dorsum of the tongue. And the dorsum of the tongue, it is divided into anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3 by
Median,
What?
sulcus arch, inferior muscle arch, and sulcus terminalis.
Do you all of you know the functions of the tongue, presenting parts of the tongue, and you know the muscles of the tongue? You know the name of the muscles of the tongue. It is divided into the intrinsic and the extrinsic. Intrinsic muscles, can you name the intrinsic muscle?
Superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal, vertical, transverse.
And what is its function?
Alter the shape.
It alters the shape of the
Shape.
muscle. Name
Genioglossus,
Genioglossus, platoglossus, hyoglossus, styloglossus.
and what is its function? Extrinsic muscles.
alter the position.
Of the tongue. And among them, which muscle is the safety muscle?
Genioglossus.
Genioglossus.
Now today, arterial supply, nerve supply, and the development of the tongue we will study. So arterial supply of the tongue, it is mainly supplied by the lingual artery. See, lingual artery, it is a branch of the external carotid artery. The chief arterial supply of the tongue is lingual artery. It is a branch of external carotid artery. And it is also, in addition, it is also supplied by the tonsillar and the ascending pharyngeal artery. Tonsillar branch of facial artery and the ascending pharyngeal artery. This facial artery, ascending pharyngeal artery, lingual artery, all are the branches of the external carotid artery. The chief arterial supply of the tongue, it is supplied by lingual artery. It is a branch of external carotid artery. In addition, it is also supplied by the tonsillar branch of the facial artery, and the ascending pharyngeal artery, which is a branch of external carotid artery. Venous drainage, it drains in the dorsal lingual vein. Venous drainage, it drains on the dorsal lingual vein. This dorsal lingual vein, it is the structure present on the under surface of the tongue, lateral to the frenulum linguae. Deep lingual vein. Venous drainage, it drains in the deep lingual vein, which is present on the under surface of the tongue or the ventral surface of the tongue. Now, the nerve supply is important in the tongue. Nerve supply, it is important. So what is the motor nerve supply of the tongue? It is supplied, all the extrinsic and the intrinsic muscles, they are supplied by the hypoglossal nerve. All the intrinsic and the extrinsic muscles, they are supplied by the hypoglossal nerve except the palatoglossus. This palatoglossus, it is supplied by the cranial part of accessory nerve. Because this palatoglossus, it arises from the soft palate, and you know the soft muscles of the soft palate, they are supplied by the cranial part of the accessory nerve. Except which muscle? Except velli palatini, which is supplied by the mandibular nerve. It is supplied by the trunk of the mandibular nerve. So all the muscles of the tongue, they are supplied by the hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal nerve, because the muscles of the tongue, its origin or it's developed from the occipital myotomes. From where the muscles of the tongue develop? Occipital myotomes. Okay, occipital myotomes. And the nerve of the occipital myotomes is the hypoglossal nerve. So development of the muscles of the tongue, it develops from occipital myotomes. Occipital myotomes. So mites, you know. So occipital myotomes gives it develops the muscles of the tongue, and Because as the muscles of the tongue they develop from आवाज आए ना हाँ आइरहेको छ हैन हाँ आवाज क्लियर छ कि छैन
क्लियर छ म्याम
See all the muscles motor nerve supply of the muscles of the tongue they are supplied by the hypoglossal nerve except the palatoglossus. That palatoglossus it is supplied by the cranial part of the accessory nerve. Why the motor nerve why the motor nerve supply of the tongue it is derived from the hypoglossal nerve because its muscles of the tongue they develop from the occipital myotomes, and the nerve of the occipital myotomes is the hypoglossal nerve. Now the sensory innervations. Lingual nerve. It is the general sensation of the anterior two-third of the tongue except the palate papilla. Anterior two-third of the general nerve supply of the anterior two-third of the tongue except the circumpalate papilla. Lingual nerve. Lingual nerve is the general sense of the circumvallation of the anterior two-third of the tongue except the circumvallate nerve. Remember, chorda tympani it is the pre-traumatic nerve. Anterior two-third of the tongue it has a general sensation and the special sensation. General sensation it is supplied via the lingual nerve except the circumvallate papilla. You know where it is present, circumvallate papilla, and the chorda tympani nerve it is the spatial sensation of the anterior two-third of the tongue except the circumvallate papilla. Now posterior one-third of the tongue including the circumvallate papilla, both the general and the special sensory it is supplied via the glossopharyngeal nerve. Clear?
यस म्याम
Okay. Anterior two-third of the tongue it has a general and a special sensation. General sensation it is supplied via the lingual nerve excluding the circumvallate papilla, and the special sensory via the chorda tympani nerve. It is called as the pre-traumatic nerve. Now posterior one-third of the tongue including the circumvallate it's both general as well as the special sensory it is supplied via the glossopharyngeal nerve. See, nerve supply it is important. Motor nerve supply by the hypoglossal nerve except the palatoglossus. Anterior two-third of the tongue except the palate papilla. General sensory, general innervations via the lingual nerve, special innervation via the chorda tympani nerve. And the posterior one-third of the tongue including the circumpalate papilla, both general and the special innervation via the glossopharyngeal nerve. Lingual nerve, chorda tympani nerve, glossopharyngeal nerve, and the hypoglossal nerve. These are the nerve supply of the tongue. Now the lymphatic drainage of the tongue. Lymphatic drainage. This lymphatic system they are arranged in the four sets. They are arranged in the four sets. They are the apical, marginal, central, and dorsal. Lymphatic drainage. This lymphatic drainage of the tongue they are arranged in the four sets: apical, marginal, central, and dorsal. Now the apical it drains the tip and the frenulum linguae. Apical it drains the tip and frenulum linguae, and it drains in the submental lymph nodes. Some of them they drain in the submandibular lymph nodes and the jugulo-omohyoid lymph nodes. See, apex as well as the frenulum linguae. They drain in the submental lymph nodes, submandibular lymph nodes, and the jugulo-omohyoid lymph nodes. Apical it drains the tip and the frenulum linguae. Where does it drain? It drains in the major part. They drains in the submental lymph nodes. Few of them they can drain in the submandibular lymph nodes as well as the jugulo-omohyoid lymph nodes. Now the marginal sets. These marginal sets it drains the lateral margins of the tongue. Most of them they drain in the soft mandibular lymph nodes. Few of them, they can drain in the jugulo-omohyoid lymph nodes as well as the upper group of deep cervical lymph nodes. Upper group of deep cervical lymph nodes. Now another set is the central sets. The central sets, it drains the anterior two-third of the tongue. Anterior two-third of the tongue, body of the anterior two-third of the tongue, and it drains in the jugulodigastric as well as the upper group of deep cervical lymph nodes. Now the last set is the basal sets. This basal set drains the posterior one-third of the tongue, including the circumvallate papilla, and it drains in. Again, it drains in the jugulodigastric lymph nodes as well as the jugulo-omohyoid lymph nodes. So the lymphatic drainage, sometimes it may be asked. So they are arranged in the 4 sets: apical set, central set, marginal set, basal set. Apical set, it drains the tip and the frenulum linguae. Where it drains? Submental lymph nodes, submandibular lymph nodes, then the jugulo-omohyoid lymph nodes. Marginal sets, it drains the margin of the tongue into the submandibular lymph nodes, then the jugulo-omohyoid lymph nodes, and the upper group of deep cervical lymph nodes. Central sets, it drains the body of the anterior two-third of the central part of the tongue, except the circumvallate papillae. It drains either in the jugulodigastric lymph nodes or the jugulo-omohyoid lymph nodes. And the posterior one-third of the tongue, including the circumvallate papillae, it drains in the jugulodigastric and the upper group of the deep cervical lymph nodes. Clear? Now the clinical anatomy of the tongue. Hello? You are listening to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Anatomy of the tongue. So injury, because you know the muscles of the tongue, they are supplied by the hypoglossal nerve. Yes or no? All muscles, they are supplied by the hypoglossal nerve except the palatoglossal. So injury to the hypoglossal nerve, it produces the paralysis of the muscles of the tongue on the side of lesion. On the side of the lesion, it causes the paralysis of the muscle if there is an injury of the hypoglossal nerve. Then another clinical importance is the undersurface or the ventral surface of the tongue along with the bulbar conjunctiva. It is a good site for the observation of the jaundice. Okay, the ventral surface of the tongue along with the bulbar conjunctiva, it is a good site for observation of jaundice. Now the development of tongue. See, development of the tongue. You know the dorsum of the tongue, it is divided into the anterior two-third and the posterior one-third as well as the posterior most part. This tongue, it starts to begins in the 4th week of intrauterine life. 4th week of intrauterine life. So anterior two-third of the tongue. Anterior two-third of the tongue, it develops from the 2 lateral lingual swellings and the tuberculum impar, which lies in between the first branchial arch or the first pharyngeal arch. And the nerve of the first pharyngeal arch is the mandibular nerve. Nerve of the first pharyngeal arch is mandibular nerve. So the anterior two-third of the tongue, they develops from the 1 tuberculum impar. In the first pharyngeal arch, there is the formations of the 3 swellings. In the midline, swelling is the tuberculum impar, and on either side is the 2 lateral lingual swellings. So these 2 lateral lingual swellings and the tuberculum impar, they fused and elongated to form the anterior two-third of the tongue. And nerve of the first pharyngeal arch is the
Mandibular nerve.
So pharyngeal arch has the 6 pairs. First pair, first arch, second arch, third arch, fourth arch, fifth arch, and the 6th arch. But the 5th arch, it disappears by the time of formations. When there is the formations of the branchial arch or the pharyngeal arch, 5th disappear. It disappears soon. But there persists the first, second, third, fourth, and the 6th. This first, second, third, fourth, and the 6th has its own nerve supply, its own arterial supply. And the nerve of the first pharyngeal arch is the mandibular nerve. Because of that reason, as the anterior two-thirds of the tongue, it develops from the mesoderm of the first branchial arch or the pharyngeal arch. Its nerve supplies the mandibular nerve, branches of the mandibular nerve. Okay, anterior two-thirds of the tongue, see in this tuberculum impar and the two lateral lingual swellings. Two lingual swellings forms the anterior two-thirds of the tongue, and behind the tuberculum impar there is a foramen cecum. Foramen cecum. Behind the tuberculum impar is the foramen cecum. Okay. Now the posterior one-third of the tongue. In the posterior one-third of the tongue, it is formed by the cranial part of the hypobranchial eminence or the copula. You see this hypobranchial eminence or the copula. It is formed from the mesoderm of the second, third, and the part of the cranial part of the fourth pharyngeal arch. See, there is one elevation is formed in between the mesoderm of the second, third, and the cranial part of the fourth pharyngeal arch. Now, this elevation it is called as copula or the hypobranchial eminence. Don't confuse. If there is asked copula or the hypobranchial eminence, they are same. Understood? Copula or the hypobranchial eminence. See, there is one swellings behind the behind the foramen cecum. It is named as the copula or the hypobranchial eminence. It is formed by the mesoderm of the second, third, and the fourth cranial part of the fourth pharyngeal arch. And this hypobranchial arch, it is divided into the cranial part and the caudal part. Initially, there is the formations of the hypobranchial eminence. Now that hypobranchial eminence, it is divided into the cranial part and the caudal part. Now, the cranial part of the hypobranchial eminence, it forms the posterior one-third of the tongue. Posterior one-third of the tongue. But the hypobranchial eminence of the third pharyngeal arch, it overgrows the second hypobranchial eminence, second part of the hypobranchial eminence. Because of this reason, the nerve supply of the posterior one-third of the tongue is glossopharyngeal nerve. The nerve of the third pharyngeal arch is the glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay, nerve of the third pharyngeal arch is glossopharyngeal nerve. Because of that reason, the general and the special sensation of the posterior one-third of the tongue, it is innervated via the glossopharyngeal nerve. And the posterior most part of the tongue, it is formed from the mesoderm of the fourth branchial arch or the fourth pharyngeal arch. And the nerve of the fourth pharyngeal arch is the superior laryngeal nerve. So it is supplied, posterior most part of the tongue, it is supplied by the superior laryngeal nerve, which is a branch of the vagus. See, in this diagram, in the first diagram, there is the formations of the two lateral lingual swellings, and in the midline is the tuberculum impar. These two lateral swellings and the tuberculum impars, they fused and forms the anterior two-third of the tongue. So anterior two-third of the tongue, it is formed by the three swellings. They are the midline swelling is the tuberculum impar and two lateral lingual swellings. And the posterior one-third of the tongue, it is formed from the cranial part of the hypobranchial eminence. Mainly the third pharyngeal arch, they overgrow the second pharyngeal arch. Because of that, the nerve supply of the posterior one-third of the tongue is the glossopharyngeal nerve, both special as well as the general sensation. Now the posterior most of the tongue, it is formed from the fourth pharyngeal arch. Its nerve supply is derived from the superior laryngeal nerve. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anterior two-third of the tongue, you have to remember two lingual swellings and the tuberculum impar. Posterior most, it is derived from the cranial part of the
Hypobranchial eminence.
hypobranchial eminence or copula.
Copula.
Or the hypobranchial eminence, they are the synonymous word. And the posterior most part, they develop from the fourth
Pharyngeal arch.
arch or the pharyngeal arch. Because of that, its nerve supply is derived from the branch of the vagus nerve, that is the superior laryngeal nerve. And in between, behind the tuberculum impar is the foramen cecum. Through the foramen cecum, one sulcus extends to the palatoglossal arch. It is named as biceps sulcus.
Sulcus
Sulcus terminalis.
Sulcus terminalis or the terminal sulcus. Now the clinical anatomy: aglossia, absence of the tongue. Hemiglossia, one part of the tongue it is absent because of the suppressions of the one side of the lingual swelling. Thyroglossal cyst, through the foramen cecum, you know the way it is present, foramen cecum. Foramen cecum, it develops the thyroid gland. And during the formation of the thyroid gland, you know it is present on the neck, but initially it is present on the floor of the mouth. So during the process of the during that, what is that called, caudal movement, that is it's a caudal movement or the caudal movement towards the neck, there is the formations of the thyroglossal duct. Thyroglossal duct, and that thyroglossal duct, it has to disappear. It has to disappear. But if it is persist, then there is the formations of the thyroglossal cyst. Other is the bifid tongue. Then another clinical anatomy is the ankyloglossia or the tongue tie. Ankyloglossia or tongue tie. It is due to the shortening of the frenulum linguae, which causes the difficulty in speech. Aglossia, hemiglossia, thyroglossal cyst, bifid tongue, and the ankyloglossia or the tongue tie. Histology of tongue or the microanatomy of the tongue. You know that tongue, it is made up of the skeletal muscles. As it is made up of the skeletal muscles, we can move according to our will. So they are made up of the skeletal muscles, and these skeletal muscles, they are arranged horizontally, longitudinally, and obliquely. They arrange horizontally or the longitudinally, transversely, and the obliquely. And these muscles, they are covered by a mucous membrane. They are covered by the mucous membrane. The undersurface of the tongue, it is lined by the non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, whereas the dorsum of the tongue, they are lined by the stratified squamous epithelium. These papillae, they are supposed to lined by the keratinized stratified squamous epithelium because of the wear and tear mechanism. So in the tongue, there is a presence of this sulcus, or it is called as the trends are present, or the furrow are present. And here this is the circumvallate papillae. Here this diagram shows the circumvallate papillae, and in the circumvallate papillae, the taste buds are present on the lateral wall. See, on either side, these are taste buds. They are present on the lateral wall of the circumvallate papilla. And in case of the fungiform papilla, the taste buds, it is present on the apical surface. Taste buds, it is present on the apical surface. And in case of the filiform papilla, there is absence of the taste buds, and they have a conical projection. So beneath the mucous membrane, beneath the lining epithelium, there is a lamina propria. This lamina propria, it is made up of the connective tissue, where there is a presence of the nerves, vessels, and the glands. And the glands are present. Okay. So muscles of the tongue, they develop from
Occipital myotomes.
And the nerve of the occipital myotome is
Hypoglossal nerve.
Hypoglossal nerve. Okay. And anterior two-thirds of the tongue develops from
First pharyngeal
tubular
arch.
impar.
Two lingual swelling.
Two lingual swellings.
And the two lateral lingual swellings. They forms the anterior 2/3 of the tongue and posterior 1/3 of the tongue.
Hypobrachial
Cranial part of the
eminence.
Cranial part of the hypobranchial eminence or the copula. It forms the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. And posterior 1/3 of the tongue, the major part or the major part, they formed from the mesoderm of the third pharyngeal arch. And the nerve of the third pharyngeal arch is glossopharyngeal nerve. Because of that reason, the nerve supply, both the general and the special sensory nerve supply of the posterior 1/3 of the tongue, it is supplied via the glossopharyngeal nerve. Pre-traumatic nerve, which nerve is called as the pre-traumatic nerve?
Chorda tympani.
Tympani nerve. Chorda tympani nerve. Okay. When you will study the head and neck, at that time, why it is called as the pre and the post-traumatic nerve, at that time you will study. But for the time being, you have to remember pre-traumatic nerve is the chorda
Tympani nerve.
Okay.
Yes.
The nerve of the first pharyngeal arch is
Mandibular nerve.
so anterior 2/3 of the tongue. It is supplied by the branches of the mandibular nerve, that is the lingual nerve. General sensory of the anterior 2/3 of the tongue by the lingual nerve, and general sensory by the
Chorda tympani.
tympani nerve. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
See, development, it is important. Nerve supply of the tongue, it is important. Always, either it may be asked in the quarters or in the your theory exam, and sometimes microanatomy of the tongue. And you should remember the which muscles is the safety muscle of the tongue.
Genioglossus.
Why it is called as the safety muscle of the tongue?
Because
Prevent the
its
backflow.
ingredients
Prevent the
prevents the
backflow.
backflow.
Integrity and integrity of the genioglossus muscles. It prevents the backward of the tongue towards the oropharynx. If there is a paralysis of the tongue, then what will happen? It will move backward and it blocks the oropharynx. So there is the obstruction in the respiration, which may cause the death of the person if it is not removed by the time. Because of that reason, it is called as the safety muscles of the tongue. Integrity of the genioglossus prevents the backflow of the tongue towards the oropharynx. Okay, any question other? Okay, I will ask. Muscles of soft palate. Muscles of the soft palate, they are supplied by motor nerve supply. What are the composition of soft palate?
Palatine aponeurosis.
Palatine
Palatine glands and nerves
nerves and the vessels and the palatine glands. Can you name the muscles of the soft palate?
Tensor veli palatini.
Palatopharyngeus, palatoglossus, levator veli palatini,
Muscular alveolus. Muscular
musculus uvulae. Oral cavity. Can I ask question from the oral? Who give permission to me? Huh? Know his name? Huh?
Dipesh.
Oral cavity proper.
Tongue.
Proper
Tongue.
oral cavity proper continues as
Continues as मैले भनेको छु content.
continuation of the oral cavity proper. The oral cavity proper are laws.
Background noise आइरहेछ कसकोबाट?
अब सुन्यो नि हैन? ल गर भन.
Yes.
खोइ उ खोइ रे के रे दिपेश
म छु म यही छु भन्नु.
भन आन्सर देऊ.
एन्सर के भन्नु?
Behind the oral cavity proper is the oropharynx. Continuations of the oral cavity proper is the oropharynx. So nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngopharynx, these all are the parts of the pharynx. So what is the partition in between the oral cavity proper and the oropharynx? The partition in between them. What is
Partial
Yeah.
isthmus.
between the oral cavity proper and the oropharynx?
Isthmus. Partial isthmus.
Isthmus, oropharyngeal isthmus. So the extension of the oral cavity, it is anteriorly is the lips and the laterally is the cheeks and up to the oropharyngeal isthmus. From the oropharyngeal isthmus onward begins the oropharynx. Here this is the pharyngeal isthmus. In between the nasopharynx and the oropharynx is the pharyngeal isthmus. In between the oral cavity and the oropharynx is the oropharyngeal isthmus, and in between the nasopharynx and the oropharynx is the pharyngeal isthmus. It is also called as the nasopharyngeal isthmus, but we usually call it as a pharyngeal isthmus. Only the pharyngeal isthmus. Pharyngeal isthmus. So when there is a contractions of the muscles of the soft palate, you are listening to me?
Yes, ma'am.
So when there is a movement of the soft palate, initially the soft, in the normal case, it is a relaxed positions, it is a V-shaped, pendant shape, quadrilateral in shape. When there is a contractions of the muscles, it becomes the horizontal. Initially it is quadrilateral in shape, has a anterior surface convex and the posterior surface convex. But when there is a contractions of the muscles, it becomes the horizontal. And it helps to close the pharyngeal isthmus. It helps to blocks there is the blockage of the oropharynx and the nasopharynx. When there is a contractions of the soft palate, when there is a movement of the soft palate, it becomes horizontal. It becomes horizontal so that the soft palate has the upper and the lower surface, not the anterior and the posterior surface. Bujesa understanding what am I trying to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Normal position, it has an anterior and the posterior surface. But when you have to speak or the blowing of the air, the pharyngeal isthmus has to close, so it becomes horizontal. And when it becomes horizontal, it does not have the and the lower surface. And behind the teeth and the gums is this larger part is
Oral cavity proper.
Cavity.
oral cavity proper. And what is area it is named?
What, ma'am?
This arrow structure area below the tongue.
Sublingual.
Sublingual space.
Sublingual space.
What structure is present in sublingual space?
Frenulum linguae.
Hello?
Frenulum linguae, yes. Then
Mandibular papillae.
sublingual fold and the sublingual papilla.
Papilla.
Sublingual fold and the sublingual.
Sublingual papilla.
Do you know what structure opens on the sublingual fold and the sublingual papilla?
Duct of sublingual glands and duct of submandibular gland. Respectively.
Of the submandibular gland and the submandibular gland. See here, this is the oropharyngeal isthmus. Okay, oropharyngeal isthmus. Anterior to the oropharyngeal isthmus is the oral cavity, and behind the oropharyngeal isthmus now begins the oropharynx. See here, it is the oropharynx. Oropharynx. Hard palate, it is formed by
Palatine process of
Two
maxilla
parts. And horizontal plate of
horizontal
palatine
plate of
bones.
palatine. Bone.
horizontal plate of the palatine bone.
Palatine bone.
Pharyngeal plexus is formed.
Fibromusculoglandular organ.
How pharyngeal plexus?
What, ma'am?
Pharyngeal branch of vagus nerve,
Pharyngeal
pharyngeal branch of glossopharyngeal nerve, and pharyngeal branch of
pharyngeal nerve, the branch of the superior cervical ganglion of the sympathetic trunk.
sympathetic.
Sometimes it is also contributed by the external laryngeal nerve. And where does this this pharyngeal plexus lies?
Pharyngeal fascia.
Buccopharyngeal
Buccopharyngeal ganglia. Fascia.
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 See this bulk of the muscles is, can you name this bulk of the muscle? See this muscles, fan shaped muscle is
Genioglossus.
gen- and this genioglossus, it arises from, do you know origin? Because sometimes origin reacts of the genioglossus because it is the,
Geniotubercle.
see, superior
Tubercle of mandible.
genial face. It is the lower jaw is the mandible. Superior behind the, in the posterior surface there are two tubercles are present, superior and the inferior genial tubercle. The superior genial tubercle gives origin of the genioglossus,
Genioglossus.
and lowest fibers it also arises from the hyoid bone, and it inserted whole of the tongue.
the tongue.
Okay, genioglossus is the safety muscle of the tongue. Genioglossus is the safety muscle of the tongue. Now, any question? If you want to ask any question, then you can ask me. Did you get ebook from ebook? Did you get?
Yes.
ebook? Okay. See, in the tongue, sometimes muscles of the tongue may be asked. Nerve supply very much important. Development of the tongue, it is very much important. Development of the tongue and the innervations of the tongue, it is very much important. Last time in the compart exam, soft palate, composition of the soft palate was asked. So you should know the compositions of the soft palate. Vestibule. What is the importance of the vestibule? There is the opening of the parotid duct. Where it is open?
Lateral
Opposite to
wall.
the
Lateral wall of the vestibule.
crown of upper second
Opposite
molar.
of the crown of upper second molar.
The crown of upper second molar tooth. In the MCQ, it may be asked. Vestibule. Sublingual region, you know. And on the under surface of the tongue or the ventral surface of the tongue, when you elevate the tongue, then there is some structures are present. What are those structures? You can see in the mirror also.
Frenulum. Sublingual papilla.
Frenulum linguae.
Sublingual papilla.
No, it is present on the under. It is sublingual space.
Frenulum deep vein.
Deep lingual vein.
Lingual vein.
Lingual vein and the plica.
Plica fibrata.
Okay, next we'll study the pharynx. Pharynx, okay? Please go through the pharynx. Last time also, respiratory system also, we have completed the nasopharynx. You know something about the pharynx. Yes or no? Nasopharynx. In the next class, we will study the pharynx. And most of the things you know. If you do not have any questions, then I will leave. Do you have questions or
No, ma'am.
why these Rupesh are raising hand? So if it is shortened, then that condition it is called as the tongue tie or the ankyloglossia, which causes the difficulty in speech. Now clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.